and coupled with the explanation or games, the children will understand what you are trying to tell them, which will be developed later in the primary section because their minds are still too little. We have a range, like mathematics we are talking, we have a range of figures that we have to work with. It is not just anyhow, but we are guided. In nursery 1, you teach highest from 1 to 10. And
Okay.
try to write. We teach from nursery 1 from 1 to 10. And if they can write from 1 to 5, it's okay. For nursery 2, you teach from 1 to 20. And already with the development in a little development in their mind as compared to nursery 1, you teach them progressively how to write. Once they know how to write from 1 to 10, we can now manipulate the other figures and they will write it. And we do oral counting.
Okay, let's clap for her. That's a good one. It's a great one. Okay. So that particular point makes it clear that the education should be made to suit the age group. Is that point understood? Don't take something that you are supposed to teach primary school, you come and teach a nursery school children. That is just that point for you to understand that. Do you have any difficulty understanding that point? If you have difficulty in understanding that point, let me know so that you will be clarified. If not, we get to the third point. I'm getting to the third point. I want the third point to come from you people. Read the third point. Let's discuss.
The demand for education will continue to be greater than its supply.
Okay. The demand for education will continue to be greater than its supply. Who supplies education in a society?
The government and some private persons or parastatals.
The government, you are only talking about your mind is tutored in one form of education.
The parents too are involved. The community equally supplies education.
Okay. So that point is saying that in as much as we have these various people who can be able to bring education to our doorstep, there are still more people who need to be educated than the facilities made available. Meaning that when you compare the demand and supply for education, you will see that the ratio can never be 50-50. The ratio cannot be 50-50. There are more learners or people in a society that needs to acquire education. But the education that they have is not sufficient. Is not sufficient. This comes as a result of what? Of our population. Of our population. So, if there are more people in the society with limited educational facilities, with limited resources, you see that the demand for education will always be far more than the supply for education. Let me just ask a simple question. when you were in the primary school, you had so many people maybe in your the community that enrolled in the primary school. As you moved upwards, as you are moving upward, secondary school, the number of learners are dropping. They are dropping. The pyramids shows that it is crowded at the bottom. Very crowded at the bottom now. But as you move to the apex, you see now the pyramid begins to narrow, to narrow. That is an exception to this point, because that point is saying that the demand for education will be always greater than its supply. But as you move upward, the story changes, because it is not everybody that has that anxiety, that is determined, that has the resource or resources to be able to acquire an educational, able to acquire education for the society. Some people get stuck on the way because of the fact that they have limited resources, inadequate finance. Some get stuck on the way because of peer influence. Some get stuck on the way because of the fact that the government has not made those facilities available. I just want to come back to that point before bringing this exception. Looking at the African context as a whole, we have high rate of illiteracy, in Africa. This is because it is not everybody that sees the importance of education. Some of them think that going to school is a scam. They will point A and B, that A went to school, had master's degree, now riding Okada, now is a farmer and the rest. So if I spend all my time going to school and I become like that, it means a mere waste of time. Those are the kind of mentalities that they have, which is very bad. Which is very, very bad. And most of these things are caused by our own country, the country in which we live in. Our educational system has not been designed and shaped in a way that will encourage people to be able to go to school. Some of them think that going to school is a mere waste of time. Somebody will say, no, I rather prefer doing this particular business rather than spending this number of years in school. The A went to school, B went to school. They are not even employed. Because I remember today, the number of KPM holders in this country right now, as of now, is too much, and they are not employed. Likewise, in other fields too, they keep going to school, acquiring the certificates, and they are not even employed. And so, any other person who wanted to actually acquire or that certificate will not want to go to school, because A went to school and cannot use that certificate to fend for himself. But generally, the level of literacy in Africa is low. We have a high rate of illiteracy. And so the demand for education here, they need education. For that point, that the demand for education will always be higher than the supply, it applies in Africa. It applies in Africa. In the Western world, it's not like that. It applies in Africa because there is a high rate of literacy. And so people need to be educated. People need to be educated. So it can never be equal, because there are more of citizens in the society that have not acquired any level of education. And so when you look at the need and the demand for that education, it is more than the education itself. Are we there? Yeah, so for that point, yes, for that point, the demand for education will always be greater than its supply. it applies in Africa. In the African context, it is a true reality. Yes, it is a true reality in the sense that the rate of illiteracy in Africa is at its apex. The rate of illiteracy in this our continent is at its apex. So there are more of our citizens in the society that we live in that needs education. That needs education. And so, looking at the facilities, the education, the stakeholders who are supposed to actually give us this education, it can never supersede the need for that education. Yes, but in the Western world, it is different. In the Western world, there are more schools than the people who want to go to school. In Africa, there are more people who want to go to school than the school itself. So that is what we are talking about. You get to an African school, you see traditional buildings. You get to the class in Europe, just looking at the class, the nature corner, the didactic materials that are there, there are teaching, there is learning without teaching. But with us here, sometimes you even come and you sing a song, there is teaching without learning. Yes, you sing a song, is it understood? Yes, sir. You ask a question, nobody answers. And nobody answers. Then how has learning actually taken place? Yes, but I just want you to understand that we shouldn't actually focus our mind only on the formal education, because the people to provide us this education, apart from the government, we have our parents too. We have informal education. The informal education that we need, the non-formal education that we equally need in a society. Parenting is a pedagogic, an informal form of teaching. Yes, parenting is one very important thing that moves up, that brings up a child. When there is poor parenting, that child will not actually fit in a society. You have to look at the children you're bringing up, make them suit the kind of society that they are living in. Yes, because if you have children that are wayward, you have children that you allow them to do what they want, you give them a lot of laissez-faire, these children will believe that that is the kind of future they will face. And when they meet something else, they become social misfits in the society. They become wayward. All forms of juvenile delinquency, crimes that they commit, moral decadence, and the rest, waywardness. So parenting is one very vital informal pedagogy that we need in our society. Yes, then we should encourage the children to learn to learn skills, to acquire skills and competencies, to know how to do something, to acquire skills that will enable the child to be able to do something. That which the child does should be able to convert a 500 to 1,000 francs that can be able to solve a family problem, that can be able to help one or two persons. That is the kind of learner that we need in our society today. Yeah, those are the kind of people that we need in our society today. Get to the fourth point, please. The fourth point. Who is reading?
The unit cost of education will remain fairly constant.
There is traffic jam in who is reading. There's traffic jam. One person should read.
The unit cost of education will remain fairly constant.
The unit cost of education will remain fairly constant. Okay. What do you understand by that particular point? The unit cost of education will remain fairly constant. Is it applicable in a society? What does it cost to acquire a primary education? What's the school fee? You don't know the school fees of your pupils?
The school differs following the different milieux, sir.
That is what I want to hear. We have denominational schools, we have lay private schools, we have government schools. Let's start with government schools. Thank you.
10K.
We should start with the government school. I want to know.
Between 7.5 and 10K, sir.
What do you mean by 10K?
10,000, sir.
Is it 10,000 you are calling 10K? Okay. What about let's get to a denominational school like a Catholic primary school, full gospel, Baptist, like that.
Sir, it is 40,000.
40,000 francs.
There are
Yes,
some
sir.
that are hundreds of thousands.
What about is it the same?
But it
Is it school?
ranges between 37 to 40.
Let me ask one question. Is a school fee of a lay private the same with that of a denominational school? When I talk of a denominational school, I mean like a mission school.
Okay.
Is it the same?
No, sir.
So which one is much more costly?
The lay private.
Ah, so that point is saying that the unit cost of education will remain fairly constant, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the cost of acquiring education per child. At first, the government in the government sector, in the government school, the government, I think, subsidizes. The government actually give it a scholarship. I put it because I remember in the primary school we used to pay even 700 francs. We used to pay 500 francs for school fees. 500 francs. That is,
Which year was that, sir? Hey, 500 francs.
yes. Before it went up to 1.5. Is it 1.5 now again?
No, every school is having their own price. So even
No, the
as far as
government made
education
it clear. The government made it clear. That was, I think, in 2000 and was it 4? Like that. Primary school, the school fees, all primary school, the school fee was 1.5, 1,500. So if you are a headmistress, you are collecting money more than that, they will sue you, eh?
Yes, sir. Hey. We are collecting more than that, though. We are also paying more than that for our children in other schools.
No, but it's a government school, and it is a prerogative and priority of the government to educate the citizens in the country, and you should not be a stumbling block.
Oh, because for me, I know that primary school education is free. It is only each school that you know how to set up your PTA and you agree with the parents on the amount that you have to pay.
This thing is supposed to be the same. It's not supposed to be unique because
Government primary schools use
huh?
up to 15,000 francs. Yes,
15
That,
yes, in
15,000.
Yaoundé. Yes, for example, in
yes, sir.
Yaoundé,
That is
15,000.
no, it's too much, no.
And then and then in denominational schools, it's even more than that. Let us just consider the fact that denominational schools, they do that in order to take care of their teachers, because it's like a board that they manage their own things. So
Mm.
here
So we
in
come back to the government school.
here in Yaoundé, government schools, I know of government schools who are paying PTA levy of 15,000 francs,
Please,
13,000 francs, 10,000
I need the name of some of those schools, please.
No, sir. It's none of our business.
No, I need the name of some of those schools. Honestly, it's not correct.
Here in the west, we pay 10,000, sir.
That is consumer exploitation.
We have no choice.
The government has made it. That is why I say that these administrators that we have today are armchair administrators. They sit in their office chairs and they don't know what is going on in the field. They will tell you that school fee is 5,000, is 1,500 when people are collecting 15,000 in the field and parents are suffering.
Mhm.
When they come for supervision, they come and they give their envelope, they go away.
Get them. That's the
And then we were expecting to change this country like that. It's going to be a far-fetched, it's like a myth. Anyway, now looking at that point, is it true that the unit cost of education is fairly constant in our country?
no, sir.
You disagree in total.
It's not constant, sir.
Why? Why isn't it constant, please? I want to know. Madam Odette,
There are a lot of
you are sleeping.
okay.
Please, sir, you have
There are a
touched
lot
one
of
of the points.
mathematics in the
Huh?
school, sir.
You have already touched one of the points.
I want you to tell
You
me. Yes,
collect
I have touched.
hello, sir.
Uh-huh.
You have touched one of the points. You've touched one of the points. You collect 1,500 and inspection comes and needs 50,000 from you or 100,000 from you when you don't have. And there are the very people who will go and plot against you because each person is trying to secure his or her place. When they come, they leave fuel. When they come, they leave what they are coming to inspect. They inspect other things and they want money. Well, how will you survive? How will you sort their problem out?
Madam, suppose
This
that
one is
you
one of
are.
the problems.
So it means that if you are the inspector, that's what you'll be doing too, eh?
Please, I'm saying what I'm seeing in the field. I'm not saying what
Okay.
I would have been doing, but what they are doing to the schools.
Suppose that you are
There
the
is also a
appointed
problem.
divisional delegate of basic education in your division. Tell us exactly
I'll abolish it.
how this problem can be solved in just
Make
a
it
straight yes.
Please, sir.
Yes.
If
Well,
yes, if you are strict, if you are a regional delegate and you put the text on the table and apply it, things will change for the better.
yeah,
But where
so
they
for that
appoint a
point,
regional delegate who knows that they have put him in a farm to reap, and
When he
his
does
subordinate also are there to help to reap, what do we expect? It is horrible out there. The government even creates schools. There is no plot. There is no building. There are no teachers, just to name a few. How do they? And then they appoint a head teacher or a principal. What does he or she do? So it is a myth, like you said. It's truly a myth in
okay,
Cameroon.
madam, we have heard you clearly. So we see that that particular point does not apply in any way, not even closer.
not at
in our country, because Cameroon is a country where they believed in feeding their own stomach. They take public funds for their personal property. Lots of problems, embezzlement, misappropriation of funds, bribery and corruption, tribalism, nepotism, all those problems. It's a social cankerworm that has eaten deeply to the root fabrics of all Cameroonians. Okay, let's get the last assumption of the social demand approach.
An expanded education opportunity will add significantly to social and economic growth.
Yes. Okay. There are three things here I want you to explain. First, what is economic growth? Second, an expanded education opportunity. Are we there?
An expanded education. What?
Expanded education is one, then educational opportunity is another. $40,000. So Mapala, give me the different educational opportunities or opportunities in education that we have. What are the different opportunities made available in education?
I do not really get the point.
I need educational opportunities. What are the different opportunities that are available in education? Why do we go to school?
To socialize.
Oh, we go to school to socialize.
We go to school to learn how to read and write. We go to school to learn good moral values. We go to school to integrate ourselves into the society. Those are just a few, sir.
Oh, that is great. I've heard learning, integration, learning good moral values, and the rest. Yes. Now,
Develop critical thinking.
yeah, critical and creative mindsets.
To obtain
Critical
jobs,
and
obtain
uh,
white-collar jobs.
what has job done?
Obtain white-collar job. That's what you're saying.
Obtain. So you go to school because you want
No,
to
no,
come and
that's not what I said.
okay. The next term there, just look at it. After the education opportunity, then, or what's the next point you underline in that assumption? I gave you 3 points there that we're going to explain them.
Economic.
Yes, what is economic growth? What do you understand by economic growth? Hello, what's economic growth? You did economics and commerce.